Okay, good morning all. I am Nalini, one of the course instructors of this course. So here in this session, I will be discussing about week 3 concept summary. So how many of you have watched the week 3 videos? How many of you? Can you please raise hands? Yeah, like not all, only few of you have watched the videos. Okay, I will share my screen. Okay, in this week 3, the starting of the week 3, the first lecture, it was discussed about the differences between structured programming and object oriented programming. Any of you, would you like to tell what is structured programming and what is object oriented programming design? Yeah, any one of you please volunteer and tell like what is the difference between those? Yeah, whoever has watched the videos, yeah, you can tell at least a point. Yeah, it will be good if you people interact. Okay.
So, structured programming would be that you have a have a set of algorithms, and then you put data into it to get the result. I mean, just giving you a very broad based.
Yeah, yeah.
And object oriented would be that you work upon the data. So you create certain instructions, procedures, or methods to work on the data.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah. So basically, in the structured programming, we will design algorithms first. So first we will write code to, let's take an example where we are sorting algorithm. Coming to sorting algorithm, we will write the sorting algorithm first, and then we will what? And then we will see on which data structure I can apply this algorithm. So that is how the structured programming is designed. First, we will write the set of algorithms, and then we will combine all of them to build some complex systems. And data representation, whatever we have programmed, on which data structure we can use that program, that comes later. So data representation comes later. So what is the disadvantage of this system? So data is not secure in structured programming, so anyone can access this data and then they can manipulate the data as well. But coming to object oriented programming, first we will identify the data that we want to manipulate and maintain, and then we will identify the algorithms to operate on the data. So let us take, suppose we have to we are thinking like we have to operate on set of integers. So yeah, so first we will secure our data, and then we will see like what we can do on that set of integers. Like let's take adding of those integers, or anything. If we wanted to perform some operation on this data, that comes later. Yeah, algorithms comes later, but data first. We will identify the data, and then we will define the algorithms or the methods that we wanted to work on that data. Yeah, so object oriented programming, is mainly about designing classes and objects. It is mainly about designing classes and objects. So you already know, right? A class is a template for creating an objects. Inside object is the instance of a class. It's, you have already learned this in week 1 and week 2. So basically object will have state and behavior. State of the object is is determined by the data that is storing inside that object. Behavior is the what methods do we need to operate on that object, that defines the behavior of the object. So object oriented design is mainly about classes and objects. Here data, we are giving importance to data, and then we will work on the algorithms or methods. We will define the methods for that data. The basic disadvantage of such structured program is data is insecure. Like whoever, like anyone can access the data and they can manipulate the data. Yeah, the main advantage of this object oriented design is we can secure our data. Yeah. Yeah, coming, I think it will be better to code. Like the other concept of this is about inheritance. The main features of the object oriented design is like encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, right? Anyone, would you like to tell about the features of object oriented programming design? Anyone of you? What are the features of this object oriented programming design? Like encapsulation, inheritance. Any few sentences regarding those?
So, may I, ma'am?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So, encapsulation is when you keep your your state as private, and your methods are public. So, I think that is what I understood is in encapsulation.
Okay, the
Right.
encapsulation is basically we want to secure our data. We don't want any others to manipulate our data. So how can we do that? By making our data as private, and whatever the operations that we do on the data, we have to manipulate the data, no? So by keeping methods as public, we can achieve this. We can achieve this encapsulation. We can achieve this data security by keeping our data as private, and the operations that we perform on the data as public. This is encapsulation.
Right, ma'am.
Basically, yeah, yeah. Okay. Next other
So,
feature is
inheritance would be that if you want to replicate the methods of your parent class into a subclass. So, if you create a subclass, another class which belongs to, say, a superclass, and you want to inherit all, I mean, you want to replicate all the methods, so then you use inheritance.
okay. That's correct. So basically, inheritance is nothing but reuse of your code. So you have already a class. Let us take you have already employee class. So manager is a kind of employee. He has all the features of employee, right? So instead of defining all the features again, we can use the methods which are defined in employee class. So that is reuse of implementations, reusing of our code. That is achieved by inheritance. Instead of writing the code multiple times, we can reuse whatever we have written by using this concept of inheritance. By making the manager as child class of employee, we can reuse the code. So this is inheritance. The purpose of inheritance is to reuse the code. Instead of defining it again and again, we can reuse our code. So that is inheritance. Yeah, polymorphism and that features we will discuss later. Now I will discuss about the inheritance. Let us take an class employee. So I'm taking the employee class as example. uh, so you all know, right, how to define a class. We will first use the keyword class followed by the name of the class, right? Is it clear for everyone? That might already have learned. And then what a class will have? Anyone of you? what a class will have, it will have data. Data are nothing but your variables, instance variables. uh, so just I'm giving name to represent the name of employee, and some salary, double salary. So yeah, this is how you define variables in Java. So first you will tell the data type of that variable. Name is a variable, and the data type of the variable name is string. Salary is a variable and its data type is double. So Java is statically typed language. So you have to define the type of the variable first, and then it is followed by the variable name. So yeah, this is not like Python where you directly define x equal to some value. It's not like that. You will first uh, tell the type of its variable, and then you will write the variable name. So what is the other thing will you use in your class to instantiate this instance variable?
Constructor methods.
Yeah, constructor. Constructor is a special method that is used to instantiate, that is used to set values for your instance variables. So while you are creating an object of the class employee, instead of creating object and later giving the values to name and salary, directly when you are creating object of employee, you can give some values to this employee. So this can be done by using a constructor. So you can have multiple constructors in your class. This is called constructor overloading. I think this is already discussed. If any one of you doesn't know about this, please ask. I will just go through it once.
Your instance variable should be private, no?
Yeah, instance variables should be private. Yeah, you can write without making them as public, but it is always recommended to make them as private. It's a good practice to to ensure the encapsulation. We will make them as private. Yes. So we have two instance variables, right? So I am defining two argument constructor. Two argument constructor, like constructor will have the same name as your class name, and here it is taking two arguments like string and double. So this by using these two arguments, I can assign the values to two instance variables name and salary. So I can say name equal to n. I'm just setting the value of name to n and salary to s. This is two argument constructor. And then we can define few methods to operate on this data. So these are private. The instance variables are private. So what is the, so you cannot, if the variables or if the methods are private, you can access them only within the class. Only within the inside the employee class you can access this instance variables. Outside the class you cannot access. So here, if I have defined object of employee e1 equal to, this is how we will define the object, no, new employee. So yeah, I have defined two argument constructor, no, so I will pass some name, Ravi or something, and his salary, some value. Okay, if I try to access this e1 dot name equal to some name, if I try to change it Rahul, you will get error because this name is a instance variable that is private. So you cannot, so name has private access in employee. So you can access that instance variable name only within your class. Only inside the employee class you can access it. You can, if you wanted to change the value of this name, you should do only within this employee class. Outside the employee class, even by using the object of that class, you cannot do that. Is it clear for everyone? This is one of the important feature. Is it clear for everyone?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah. So now I want I want to access the name. of name, or I wanted to access the value of instance variables. I cannot access this
Just a
directly
question here,
outside.
ma'am.
Yeah,
Sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
Isn't E1 as an object an instance of the employee class itself? Why are we still not able to do it?
yeah. Because so private is an access specifier. So if anything is private in your class, you can access that only within the class. Outside the class, you cannot access. This is because the instance variables are private, so even the object of that class cannot access that. So how to overcome this problem? If you wanted to set the name of the employee, or if you wanted to what see what is the current name of even, then you can do that by using accessor and mutator method. Accessor method is a method by which you can access the your values of your instance variables. So public, so you are just accessing, right? Here
Right.
it's,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No,
that
I
means,
understand the accessor and mutator methods. So,
mm,
if a variable is private, it's only limited to the within the
class.
class declaration body, not even for the
Ye-
objects. Then
yes, yeah,
got it.
Ma'am,
only within the yeah.
sorry to interrupt you, ma'am. In the public employee constructor, is the name should be this dot name, or is it just name, ma'am?
Okay, I will tell. So here you can use name equal to n, okay, but and salary equal to s, that is okay, this works fine. But if you have this this variables like this, these are called local variables, right? This is local to your employee constructor.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So if both the instance variables and your constructor, this local variables to your constructor are of same name, then you have to specify this.
Okay.
So in order to distinguish the local variables from the instance variables, you will say this dot name equal to name. That means this dot name represents this current object name. That means the instance variable name.
Okay.
Yeah,
Understood, ma'am.
yeah. If you use some other different variable here like n1 or s1, you can directly say name equal to n1, salary equal to s1. But if both of them has the same names, then you need to distinguish your instance variables and this variable somehow. So this is achieved by using this keyword this. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah. So this is accessor method. Means by using accessor method is like methods which are used to access the values of your instance variables. So get name gives the name of the employee. So its return type should be string, no, because name type is string. So we will return name. Similarly, we can have another accessor method to access salary. So what should be the return type of get salary method?
Double, double.
Yeah, double. Because data type of salary is double, so whatever this method is written, this method returns a double value, so we have to specify this as double. Mutator methods are the methods which are used to set the values. If you wanted to change the values of your employee object, then you can use the mutator methods. If you wanted to access, you have to use the accessor methods. If you wanted to change the values of your instance variables, you will use mutator methods. So mutator methods won't return anything, so return type is void. They are used to set values of your instance variable, no? So we will write method name as set name, and it should set name of your instance variable. So it will take some string as argument, string n, and whatever the string which we pass, that should be assigned to the name of the employee. So that we will do by using this mutator methods. Yeah. So similarly, we can have another mutator method which is used to set the salary of employee. by saying double salary, that takes salary, that is double. So salary equal to, yes, yeah. So is it clear till now? These are accessor and mutator methods by which we can access and set the values of our instance variables. So let's take here. Now currently employee E1 has name Ravi. If we wanted to change it to Rahul, how can we do this? If we wanted to change the name of E1 employee to Rahul, then we will call E1 dot set name only. Now we are changing, so we will call the set name method, and we should pass some string Rahul. Yeah. Now we wanted to see what is the name of our employee E1. Then we can say E1 dot get name. So actually get name is returning a string. If we just, we need to store it in a string and we can display, or directly we can display it by saying system.out.println of E1 dot get name. Actually this is getting printed. Okay, now you can see the name of E1 employee has changed to Rahul. So yeah, before setting our name, we will see what is the name of the employee. Before setting the name to Rahul, we will see what is its name of that employee. Previously, the name of our employee even is Ravi, and then it has changed to Rahul after setting its name to Rahul. Okay, this is the use of accessor and mutator methods where we can change the values of our instance variables and we can see the values of our instance variables as well. Okay, additional to these methods, there can be other methods also in our class employee class. Other methods, there can be any number of other methods. Let us define just a single method called bonus.
Just one clarification here.
Yeah.
So this mutator and accessor methods is to basically get and change the instance variables outside the class.
Yes.
And if we didn't have them,
Mm.
if you can come down, I can still run this. I can create an instance like
Yeah.
employee E1, new employee,
Mm.
but I cannot change it. But I
Yes.
can create an instance with the this.
Yes, you can create another instance.
Okay, and this works because of the constructor.
Yes, this works because of the constructor. Yeah.
Okay, right, ma'am.
But E1 value will still be ravioli,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there can be other methods also. Let us define bonus method. Bonus also will return some bonus, the bonus amount. So its value will be double. So yeah, bonus takes nothing. It takes nothing. It just return bonus to you. It just calculates bonus and return is 10% of your salary. Okay. That means 0.1 into salary. So actually now you can see we can access the salary directly without using this accessor or mutator. Without using accessor method, I can just get the salary because we are inside the class. It works fine. So here no need to say some. We here we are not using this methods get salary or something. We can directly use the salary instance variable because we are simply inside the class. Okay, this is a simple example of a class. Here we can see that employee class has all this like constructor, accessor methods, mutator methods, and one bonus method also. So coming to the class manager, So manager is a special employee, right? He's a special employee. That means he will have all the features of employee plus some additional features he will have. So instead of defining everything in your manager class as well, instead of creating everything for the manager class as well, you can just simply reuse whatever we have defined inside the employee class. So by inheriting, we can make manager as subclass or child class of this employee class. How can we do that? By saying manager extends. Extends is the keyword by which we will specify manager as child class of employee class. Public manager, public class. I should use this class no keyword while creating a class. Manager extends employee. Sorry. Yes. Now the manager class will have all these things, name, salary, everything. But we cannot change the values of this manager. We cannot set the values of this manager name or salary inside our manager class because they are private. We cannot access those inside our manager class. Additional to the manager. So let us take like, okay, I will take something like int team size, team size or something, team name or team size or something. The team. So this is private. You can make it as private. So yeah, this team is the instance variable that is specific to manager. Employee class doesn't have this team, but manager class will have this all this instance variable name and salary. But the thing is, it cannot directly access this because they are private. So yeah, while creating the object of manager, all the instance variable of the parent class also should be defined. So we will define three argument constructor to set the name and to set the salary of the manager, because manager is also going to have all these features. Int team size team, yeah. But how to set those values? We cannot directly say name equal to n because they are private. You cannot access them outside the class. So, but one way of assigning values to your instance variables, your parent class instance variables, is by calling the superclass constructor. How can you call the superclass constructor? By using the super keyword, and you will pass the two arguments. And then, okay, now the superclass constructor will be called, and the values of this instance variables like name and salary will be set to n and s. And you have to set the team also. Team equal to t, you can assign value to your team. Is it clear? Like how to
One
yeah,
one
yeah,
doubt, man.
yeah.
Suppose I don't put this string n and double s,
Mm.
and I just put manager in t,
Yeah,
and I put super and I don't put nns. Will it inherit from the
yeah,
employee class?
it will give error. So you, in the week 2 itself, you have already seen this. If no constructors are defined in your class, then Java compiler will give default constructor. Like no default constructor, Java compiler will
No, no,
provide.
I'm defining. No, my doubt is in
Uh,
the manager constructor.
yeah,
If I
you are
just put
telling. Yeah, you are telling
if I
just
just put int t, no,
okay,
int
okay.
t,
Uh,
and I if I just put int t and I put super and team is equal to t, then is my constructor valid?
that's what I'm saying. You are telling you will just put super off. Yes, right?
Right.
Super. Yeah. So uh, like super means it will call the super class constructor. Does employee class have the zero argument constructor inside it? Have you defined no argument
No,
constructor? No.
no. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So it will give compile time. You can check this as well.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, just manager m1 equal to new manager of. Now it should give error because there is no zero argument constructor. So same thing, Ravi, I'm giving. Okay, 1000 and team size is 2. Let us take team size of 3. Okay, it will give compile time error because we are here. Okay, this is a problem with this replet. If something is public, that is considered as. So here constructor employee in class employee cannot be applied to the given types. So super, we are just saying super required two argument constructor, no string and double,
Clear.
found no argument.
Mhm.
Yes.
Clear. It's clear.
Yeah. Reason actual and formal argument list difference in length. So actual arguments are like two argument like string and double, but what we are passing is no argument, zero argument. So it will give call to super must be first statement in the constructor. Yeah, that is okay, fine. Yeah, if you remove this statement, then this will work fine. So now, yeah, now it has worked fine. No error. No, we haven't received any error. Okay. Okay, this is how we will set the values of instance variables of our parent class. By calling the superclass constructor, we will set the values of instance variables of the parent class. Okay. Okay, now the manager will be having all the methods of the employee class. Let us see. Let us call the methods. Now, let us see. Can we change the value of manager name? I'm just removing everything here. So M1 is object of manager. M1 doesn't have the method get name directly in the class, but it is defined in the employee class, right? Are we able to use it or not? We can check. Are we able to use it or not? We can just check. So if I say get name method, it should return the name of the manager. See, we have got the name. We have got the name of our manager. We have not defined the get name inside the manager, but still we are able to use this method get name. This is because of inheritance. Because of inheritance, we can what manager class also will be having all the methods which are all the public methods which are defined inside the parent class, employee class. So now you can set the value of salary of the manager as well. M1 dot set salary. You should pass some double value, no? Yeah, 12. You should pass some double value, and I can print the salary also. The manager M1 dot get salary. So the thing is here, instead of defining new methods, the same methods which are present inside the employee class, we can directly use them by making the manager as child class of employee. You can define your own new methods as well. Like if you wanted to set this team size of the employee, you can say public void set team size, set team. So it should take some int n as argument, and you can just simply set team equal to n. Okay, set team method is a method present only in the manager class. That means it is the method of manager class. Only manager class can access, manager objects can access this set team method. Employee employee objects of employee class cannot access this method set team, because set team is a new method that belongs to manager. This is the extra method, additional method, which is specific to the manager class itself. So if you try to use the method even dot set you can see set name and set salary are showing, but set team is not visible at all. So if you just try to do this, you will get error, because set team method is just only for manager class. You cannot use set team method on employee class. Cannot find symbol even set team method set team, that is not there in the employee class, so you cannot use that. So inside the manager class you can use this. Using the manager class object you can use it. You can set team size. Here you won't get any error. Okay, so your child class can have all the methods of the parent class. In addition to that, it can define new methods as well. It can contain new methods as well. Is it clear for everyone?
Yes, ma'am. One question here, if you can come down. This set team, even if I make, no, if you can just go roll up a little bit
Mm.
in the E1. If I put this E1 equal to new manager,
Yeah, I will come to that. Yeah.
even then I cannot use set team.
Yeah, even then you cannot use set team. I will show that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Now you know, right? You all have seen regarding the concept of subtyping. So subtyping is like if A is a subtype of B, if object A is subtype of, okay, let us put here, right here. If B is subtype of A, that means B will have more methods compared to A. Then then we can use object B wherever we require object A. Object B can be used, we can use or can be used wherever object A is required. So yeah, coming to
Ma'am, I have
here.
one question.
Yeah, sure.
Where I declared this manager class and typed in down the public class manager extends employee, because manager has all the inherits all the methods of employee and has some one more methods as well. When I try to run this on the console, I get the error that class manager is public, should be declared in a file named manager.java. How do I handle
Yeah,
this?
yeah, you just remove public from the manager, this class name. This is because so you can have only one public class in a file,
Uh,
right?
is
Yeah,
this a
one
replit limitation or is this limitation across?
across. It is a limitation across any ID. You can have only one public class in a file, so you cannot have multiple public classes. By default, the main class, this class main which we are getting here, whenever we open this replit id we will get some code, no, class main. So main class is public by default, so the name of the file is also main.java. So that's why here by saying public class manager, there are two public classes inside the main.java. One is manager is public class, and main is also public class, that is present in the same file main.java. So yeah, in order to overcome this problem, you have to remove public from the class manager, because you can have only one class as public in a file.
Got it. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, now that means I will tell what does this mean. So employee, let us take, we will create new employee e2 equal to, we can say new employee, we can give new employee, or we can say new manager also, because here B is subtype of A, that means manager is subtype of employee. Manager has additional features compared to employee, that means manager is subtype of employee. Then we can use manager whenever object of A is required. So here for employee, we can give, we can either give employee object, or we can give manager object as well. So whenever an object of A is required, we can use object B, that means we can use manager whenever this employee is required, because manager has additional features compared to employee, right? There is no problem in using manager whenever employee is required. So that's what this means. So yeah, actually parent class reference, that means employee can, this e2 is parent class reference to employee class, can hold child class object as well. It can hold parent class, it can hold a child class object as well. We can give manager also here, no problem. So new manager means it will take three arguments, right? We can give any name or something, salary.
Question
Yeah,
here again.
yeah,
Considering employee has all the employee and manager have the same set of methods, and manager has one additional method.
sure.
What would be, if at all I declare this, I write this line as manager e2 is equal to new manager brackets with the variable values.
Yeah, that also just works fine. But this is also, you can use this one also. You can use employee reference also. I will tell why we are doing
Hmm.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will tell why this is, why it is required. Okay. Okay, let us take, you have one more method. I will tell the use case for this. So public static some method. I wanted to display the salary of all the employees. That means all managers and all employees as well. Display salary. I will give some employee array here. Whatever we pass, it should display salary. Employee. Okay, I should give return type. It is returning void. So for this method just displays the salary of each and every employee. For employee E1 is to E. This one you know, right? This is for each loop, right? Instead of using for int I equal to 0, I less than E dot length, I plus plus, you can simply say the data type of whatever this employee array contains employee objects, no? You can say employee E1, that means the objects present in this E array is of type employee, and you are representing, you are taking another variable for this each element of the employee array. You can say system.out.println, you are just printing its salary of the employee objects. Println e1 dot get salary. Okay, system.out.println is not required, because actually get salary is already printing it. They are already printing it, so it's not. Okay, get salary is returning or printing. Okay, get salary is returning a double value, so we should print it. If it is directly printing it, it's not required to print it again. It's just returning. Yeah. I'm saying the okay. Now I can say I can create one employee array e equal to, I can keep just e1 and e2 as members. E1 comma e2. E1 and e2 are employees only, right? I'm keeping them in employee array, and I can call this method display salary. This is static method, so it is not required to create object. We can directly call it by saying display salary, display salary of E. So it should print the salaries of employee. So you can see even employee salary is 1000 and E2 employee salary is 1300. It is getting printed, but I cannot include here manager. In this employee array, I cannot include manager, because the type of M1 is manager. It is not employee. So I cannot keep manager in employee array. So you will get error because okay, this is also working. Yeah, this is also working. I thought it won't work, but this is also working. The thing is, right, here you can see, instead of using two objects like employee and manager, two objects, I'm just using employee, and I can give the manager
Where is
objects.
this 1200 coming from? Okay, get salary 12. Okay,
Yeah, yeah. Set salary 1200. No, this is set salary
sets
1200.
right.
Yeah. See, here I have just told it is taking some employee array. For this employee array, I am giving employee objects, manager objects. I can give team another developer object as well, which is which can be child class of employee. So I can give whatever I want, but I can use only single employee as this variable, right? So I can use the parent class variable to hold the child class object. So instead of giving different parameters, employee, manager and developer, instead of giving the three parameters, you can give one argument, and you can achieve the whatever the decide, you can get the desired output, right? Instead of giving the three variables here, employee and manager and everything, you are just giving employee array, and you are able to see salaries of all employees. So that is the one of the use case. Instead of so that is the use, like you can use parent class reference to hold the child class object, right? You can group them. Instead of defining it with the multiple parameters, you can use single object, and you can store all the values in that single object, employee object, and still you can able to see all of those salaries.
If instead of salary, display salary, we had display team,
Yeah,
then
then that won't work. Display team, yeah, because the static, yeah. Okay, you are saying, actually we have not come c- came to that extent. Yeah. So because even dot get team, that is not there, right? Because even, okay, I will tell what is static type checking and dynamic checking first, and then I will come to this. Yeah. So let us see like how actually execution happens first, and then we'll come to that question. Yeah. So from the manager we are able to call the methods set salary, set team, and everything. Sets, because set team is specific to manager, so we can call the method set team using the manager object. But if by using even, we have already seen we cannot call the method set team or get team, because those methods are specific to manager objects. Only manager objects can use set team and get team. Those are the extra methods present only for managers. So employee objects cannot call those methods, because okay, Java like Java compiler checks first, will it will check when I say e1 dot set team to some value, e1 dot set team to some value 3 or 4. Then compiler will check whether set team is defined for employee object. Here you can see set team is not present for employee, right? Inside the employee class there is no method called set team. So statically the compiler will check is set team method defined in the employee class. No. So it won't, it will give compiler error when we invoke this method set team. Okay, when we invoke this method set team, it will give compiler error. You can see that because set team method is not defined. Cannot find symbol
Okay.
set team. Yeah.
Even if you
So,
put but if you put E2, then it
mm,
will give, because E2 is new
no,
manage.
no,
No.
E2
Okay.
also won't give. So
Okay.
let us
Okay.
check with
Okay.
E2 also, because what is the type of E2?
It's employee.
E2.
Okay. It won't take that. Okay. Got it, ma'am.
Yeah. So let us keep here by, let us comment this also. So actually E2 is the static type. The compiler know E2 is of type employee, but during the runtime, what is the type of E2? It's manager, right? E2 its static type is employee. The compiler know only E2 is employee, but dynamically it is storing manager object inside it. So E2 static type is its employee. So if we see e2 dot set team, if we say, then also it will give error. The compiler will check whether for employee class set team method is defined. No, set team method is not defined for employee class, so it will give compiler error. But we know that for employee e2 we are storing manager object, but manager has set team method. So how can we make it work? By, how can we make it work? By setting it to, by doing typecasting, typecasting it to manager. We can typecast it to manager. So here we can typecast E2 to manager, because the object here object is manager object, no? So we can typecast E2 to manager. So I think I have defined it wrongly, typecasting. Symbols I have. This is how you should typecast. Yeah, this has worked successfully. You cannot see here compiler error, no? E2 dot set team also is working, because you have typecasted E2 to manager. Manager, now the type of E2 is manager. So manager has set team method, so it is working. So but if you typecast E1 to manager, if you typecast E1 to manager, will it work or not? We'll see. It won't
Give
work.
error.
Yeah, it will give error, because the object here is employee object. For employee object you are typecasting it to manager. Employee cannot be manager, right? Employee object cannot be manager, because manager has some extra features, so you cannot typecast it. But e2 you cannot, you can typecast it, because it is actually manager object, so you can typecast it to manager. So in order to avoid this type of compile time errors, you can just check the type and then you can do typecasting it. So this there is some method called instance of, there is some function. If e2 instance of, if e2 instance of manager, then you can tell I can typecast it to manager, and then you can invoke that thing. You cannot do this. Just this basically avoids this kind of exceptions. Okay, that is already given in the what slides. Yeah, I will show that instead of typing. So here you can check if e instance of manager, and then you can typecast it. That thing you can do. Okay. Yeah, is it clear for everyone?
One doubt I have, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
If you come to line 66,
Mm. Yes.
64, sorry,
Okay.
64.
Mm.
This M1, how it's taking, I still did not understand that. E1, E2 is clear, it's taking.
Yeah,
M1 is the
because
employee.
employee E2 equal to new manager, you are saying.
No,
Employ
in this M1, how it's able to take that also. M1, manager. E1, E2 is clear. That,
Yeah, even E2 is clear for you because they are like parent class reference can hold child class object as well, right?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, in the same way, manager is like subtype of employee, no? So it can hold. Manager is subtype is child class of employee. So employee can store manager object.
But here in M1, I'm defining the object as new manager only.
Yeah, you are defining it as new manager. For E2 also you are defining it as new manager, no?
Oh, yeah, but
Yeah,
here the static type is E2, no?
yeah,
Employee.
static type is E2, but still this is because of the subtyping property only. If B is subtype of A, then we can use object B wherever object A is required. So the thing is the parent class reference can hold the child class objects. It can hold parent class reference can hold child class objects, right? That means it can take employee, it can take manager as well, manager objects as well. So manager M1 is manager object. So parent class can take the manager object, can
Okay.
hold. Yeah,
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
yeah. Uh, okay, is it clear for everyone? Is this clear for everyone? The others, please reply. Yeah, you can ask if you have any doubt. Okay, it's like correct point to ask. This is basic. You must know. If you don't understand it, then other topics will be very difficult. The other concepts in Java. This is most essential and most basic thing in Java. Please understand this. Yeah, if you have any doubt, please ask. Okay, just I will give a minute. Just go through the code. It's here is nothing. Here we are defining some classes and methods. In manager, we are extending it from employee class. It has new instance variable and new methods as well for manager. Inside the main method, we are defining objects of employee and object of manager. So in order to define object of employee, we will use we will call two argument constructor. For manager we will pass three argument constructor. But the thing is like employee can hold child class object like employee e2 equal to new manager, we are saying that is possible because of that subtyping property. Employee can take child class object like parent class reference can hold child class objects. So new manager object we are giving manager object we are giving into employee reference, that is possible. But while calling the static type, it will check. While calling, the compiler will check what is the static type of this employee e2. E2 is like employee, no? So employee doesn't have set to team method. So it will give compile time error. In order to overcome this problem, you have to typecast it to manager. If you typecast it to manager, the manager will be having the set to team method. So you can use that method. This typecasting is working because the object is manager here. But if you say E1, here employee E1 is employee object actually. So if you try to typecast it to manager, it won't work because it is not manager object, and you cannot use the set team method on this employee object. Yeah, that's all whatever we have seen here. Yeah, if you have any doubt, will you can ask. If not, then we will proceed.
Ma'am, employee E2 is new manager.
Hmm.
This actually calls the manager methods. Where does the control go?
Okay, if you call, if employee e2 equal to new manager, and if you call the manager methods on e2, then only manager methods, that means the methods which are specific to manager class, if you call on e2, it won't work because the type of e2 is employee. The type of the static type of e2 is employee. It is employee, right? Here the
Yes, ma'am.
type here. Yeah, so the methods actually won't work. You will get compile time error. In order to overcome this problem, you have to do typecasting. How to do typecasting? So you will e2, e2 inside the bracket you will put manager, right? Then it will
Yes.
be typecasted to some manager object. On this manager object you are calling set to team. That's why there is two brackets here. The first thing this does, this gives
Ma'am, this
us
is to
manager
call,
object.
ma'am, we are doing typecasting to access the methods in manager.
Yeah, yes, yeah, you because here what is the object here? New manager, no, object is manager. You must be able to access the methods present in the manager, but
Yes.
statically you cannot access because this is type is employee. So in order to overcome this problem, we will typecast it to manager. But here if you see here, employee e1 equal to new employee, what is its static type? Employee. So
Employee.
you cannot call manager methods.
Yes.
What is its dynamic, like what is the object here? New employee, no, object is also employee. So typecasting it, if you typecast it to manager, this won't work because the object is not manager here. Here the object is manager, it will work, typecasting will work. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ma'am, just to be clear, if I have understood properly,
Yeah.
so inheritance is where we have a base class which is employee class, and we have extended its properties to manager class, and we have added additional features to the manager class. So when we inherit the employee class, we can access the employee class methods as well as the manager class methods. But when object is created with the employee class, it cannot access a manager class because of inheritance, because it is the parent class. But in subtyping, it is like if we need a employee, we can use a manager class as well, but
Mm.
if we need a manager, we cannot use an employee class. Am I right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And ma'am, you told one thing previously regarding that only one public class should be used. Can you repeat that, ma'am? Like, because
Yeah,
we have used a lot of public methods, no, ma'am. Like how it is only one.
public methods can be many inside a file, but classes, class employee, here class manager, and we have class main, right? What
Yes.
is the name of this file? Main.java. The
Yes.
name of this file is main.java. So only main class can be public in this file.
Okay.
Yeah, if you wanted manager class to be public, so the rule is like whichever class is holding the main method, that class we will make it as public.
Okay.
This is like class main has the main method, so main method, no, this is our starting point. So the
Okay.
main, the whatever the class which has a main method, we will make that class as public if our classes, if our file has multiple classes inside that. So main class has is having the main method, so we should make it as public, and the name of the file should be also main.java, right? Because that is to the public class, that thing. The thing here in the replet is main class is public by default. It has main method by default and it is public by default. If you make any other classes as public, it won't work. Okay.
So it is like in before class, we should include the word public in main method. Like class manager extends employee. Before class, we should include public only for main method. Public class main. Is it that, ma'am? Or
Okay, I will give another example. Okay, let me see whether it takes time to open.
In this replet only, if you put public in front of the main, even that will not work.
That will work because
Okay.
it is default by public.
Okay. The
Even if
default
you,
is public. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
even if you put or even if you doesn't put it,
It
it is
okay.
not a problem. It is not
Okay.
a problem. Yeah, which class should I take?
So here in this code also you have shown only one public you put, the
See here
higher.
in this code, higher order is public.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has the method main, and you can see the name of the class is also higher order
Higher order.
Java.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Whatever the class that has the main method, that class should be public, and your name of the file should be also the same name, main.java. Even if you put public here, it won't cause a problem.
So in this, one more question. In this Eclipse, when you don't put public before the main class, then by default, what does the other class take? What is
It
the
won't
default?
take anything. It won't take anything. Default is nothing. In like you have to make it public or anything by explicitly you have to mention in Eclipse. No default, nothing will be there
So there
there.
are only two types, public and private.
Yeah, public, private, and default classes. If you not mention anything here, either public or private or anything, if you are not mentioning, the access is default for this class. Default. The class is default. That means we can access this inside the package. That thing will come later. Okay.
Okay.
Access. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Understood, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Thank
Yeah. Yeah. Any other doubts? Yeah. Yeah. Just I'm waiting for few minutes. I will start new topic if it is okay for everyone.
I mean that employee E2 is equal to new manager
Mhm.
constructor. It can access the methods in the employee class, right?
Yes, you can access e2 dot set name, salary, set salary, and also bonus method. All the employee methods you can access. It won't give any compiler error because the type of e2 is employee. Yeah,
Okay, okay, thank you, ma'am.
yeah. Okay, I think I will move to another topic that is like no inheritance is clear. No, the other
you. Yes,
topic is polymorphism. Polymorphism is like multiple forms. Uh, Two ways to achieve the polymorphism in Java. One is by method overloading and the other one is method overriding. I will tell what is method overloading and method overriding. Okay, let us see. I can copy from here or not the code. Okay, this thing I cannot copy. Now let us take class some example. Okay, now I'm not defining any data inside the class. Just I'm mentioning only the methods for this class. Just let us take example class as method display or show something like that.
Man,
Display.
can we take the previous example only? It will be in
Yeah,
continuous.
you can take the previous example, but it's cluttered. No, it has many things. That's why.
We okay, so we can delete the ones we don't want.
Yeah, we don't. But it's cluttered. Just let
Okay.
me explain it in
Okay.
better way. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. System.out.println. No arg display. This is no argument we have no. no arg display method. Okay, that's all. Int x. Okay, okay, let me explain this here. Okay, we have this example class. Inside the example class, okay, why this is coming here? Just let me run and check. Yeah, no errors. Okay, so we have the example class. Inside the example class, we have method display. So here, all the methods inside this example class name is display. All the method name is display only, right? So but we are able to use the multiple methods, so we have not got any errors also. We are able to use the multiple display methods. All the methods have the same name, but all these methods are different. So the single method is taking different forms. This is like polymorphism, means the same thing can exist in multiple forms, no? So here method overloading is an we can achieve polymorphism by using method overloading. Over here the method display is overloaded. So display method, we can see this display the same name, but arguments is different for all the display methods. So if I say even dot display, and if I say even dot display of some one, you can see the output. Compiler knows to call which method. It calls no arc display, this display, and we have passed some integer, no, that this also it will call. So actually, even if the method is in the same, even the method has the same name, still we can identify which method we are calling. The compiler can identify which method we are calling. This is because the number of arguments is different. For here the argument is 0 and here the argument is 1. And you can see there is other thing also, like for here this display method has single argument, and also here this string display also has single argument, but we can see the type of the argument is different. Type of argument is different here, I can say. I should use semicolon, I forgot. So you can see both display methods here, this index and this fifth line and eighth line display method is taking single argument, but still the compiler is able to identify to call which display method, right? This is because the type of argument is different. For this fifth line display, the type of argument is int. For the eighth line display, the type of argument is string. You can see for the second line display method there are no arguments, so you can achieve the method overloading by changing the number of arguments or the type of arguments. You can change the number of arguments or also type of argument. Here the type is int, here the type is string, but here the number of arguments is 0, the number of arguments here is 1, and here is 2. So this is how the compiler knows which display method we are calling. Okay, this is example of method override loading. That means we can have the multiple methods with the same names, but 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 the thing is, either the arguments, the type of argument should be different or the number of arguments should be different. But if we say public int display int x system.out.println return type display, if I say return display something like that, it won't work. Okay, now if I say even.display of 2, actually I intended to call. So how the compiler will identify now? Now actually we are passing an integer and we are calling the single argument, right? We are passing single integer argument. Then there is confusion for the compiler, right? Which method to call, like whether the method whether the method from line 5 or the method from line 14, even though the methods are different. So we can see the return type of this method is void and the return type of this method is int, but the compiler doesn't know that, because in the method signature we are just specifying the type, the number of argument and the type of argument only. The return type, about the return type we are not specifying anything, no. So we cannot achieve overloading by changing the return type of the method. Even if we change the return type of the method, we cannot achieve the overloading. Just overloading can be achieved only by changing the number of arguments and the type of argument. Only that, by using that feature only, we can achieve the overloading. Is it clear for everyone?
Return
Yes,
type
sir.
has to be the same in overloading.
Yeah, even though return type of the method is different, even though method return type is, even though method display return type is string or integer or anything, then you cannot achieve overloading. It will still consider this, whatever the method int display previously I have written, no, and this void display as same. It won't consider those two as different display methods. So overloading can be achieved only by changing the number of arguments and this type of arguments. Okay, because while calling the method, while calling this display method, you will just specify the type and the number of arguments only. That's how the compiler identifies to call which method. Okay, even by changing the return type, you cannot achieve the overloading. Okay.
Ma'am, how about the order?
Yeah, order also matters. Order also matters. Yeah. See, if I say public void string, instead of string, if I say double x here, double, and here string. So remember, while calling the method display, this 11th display and 14th display, how will you call? For calling the 11th display, you will pass string first and followed by some double value. For calling the method from 14th display, you should pass first some double value and then followed by a string value, no, some double value 10.5. Order also matters, the order of the parameters also. So if I do this, now the compiler knows actually which method you are calling. So first, okay, what output you have got here, you can see this method has invoked, no, first the string is printed and then double value is printed, two argument display is printed. Okay, I will say here order display or something. Okay, so the compiler knows which method to call by seeing the order of parameters which you are passing. Here the first you have passed string and followed by double, and then you have passed double first and then string. So it will see the order and then invoke the particular method. So method overloading can be achieved by changing the order of the parameters as well. Okay, yeah, is this clear for everyone?
And what about the overloading between classes is possible?
Yeah, between classes. Okay, I will tell that. We'll come to that. So now coming to overriding part. Class example 2. Let us take it extends example 1. And you can have display method in class example also. You can override the definition. So here now you have public void display string x, no? Yeah, you can define your own display method for example 2 class. I will tell this. Wait. Okay, let us take index here. I can simply say okay. Now if we have both objects of example class e1 and e2, this is example 2, this is example 2, the child class of m. And if I call e1 dot display of some number 5, okay, any number, e2 dot display of 5, if I say so, yeah, the compiler will check whether e1 has display method with integer as argument. Yes, it has display method with integer argument, right? And here also e2, the here also for e2 also it will be checked whether e2 as display method with integer as argument. Yes, it has, right, it has some display method with integer as argument. So e2 is having both these methods, both this method and this method, you all know, right? Because example 2 is extending example, not one example, example 2 is extending example. So example 2 will have all the methods of example, but you can see the display method is of this the display method with this integer as argument is already present in example as well. But the thing is, you are defining it again. So this is overriding. You are defining, you are overriding the method which is present in the child in the parent class. Overriding means you are defining your own definition for this display method. Defining, defining new definition inside the child class. Defining new definition in child class. So you are telling, instead of taking this definition, instead of taking this definition, you are giving new implementation for this method. You are defining it newly. Cannot reduce the visibility. I am not reducing the visibility. No, it is public only. Okay, let me check. So you can see one 5 one argument display that is calling from parent class, and for e2 it is calling the child class one argument display. So you can define your own method inside your child class. Even the method is present in the parent class, you can give your own definition for that method. This is called method overriding. In order to achieve the method overriding, the method name should be same in both the parent class and the child class, and the return type should be same. This visibility should be same, or you can increase the visibility. If the method is private in the parent class, you can increase the visibility to public, but you cannot decrease the visibility in while defining, while overriding the method. The number of arguments should be same. Here you are overriding the method display that has integer one argument, and the one argument takes integer as argument, no? So you are overriding the method display inside the class example 2. You are giving new definition for this method. So whenever you try to invoke the display method by passing integer on e2 object, on this example to object, you will see the you will get the output of the new implementation only. The old implementation, the parent class implementation definition, it won't give. Okay, is it clear for everyone?
One clarity: the everything has to, even the return type has to be the same for it to
Even
override,
the
right?
return type has to be same.
Okay.
Only the thing you can change is visibility. Like if it
Okay.
is private method, you can make it as public method in the child class. You can increase the visibility, but you cannot decrease the visibility. You cannot make public method to private while overriding, but you can make private method to public while overriding. Okay, you can
Okay.
increase the visibility. Yeah.
What about public and default? Which one has more visibility?
Public has more visibility. Public has highest visibility. Okay. If the method is just simply void display, while overriding, you can say it as method public void display. You can increase it to public while overriding, but you cannot decrease it. Okay. Public has the highest visibility. If it is public, it will be visible everywhere. Okay. The thing is like overriding is like inside the parent class and inside the child class, you can have the methods with the same signature, same name, and same signature. This is, if you are overriding a method, that means you are giving your own implementation in the child class for that method. While invoking also, it will invoke the new the child class implementation of that method. It won't, so e2 dot display won't give this, won't give the output as to one arc display. It will say one arc display of example 2 only. It will call the implementation of child class only while calling. Okay. That is same if your parent class and child class has the same methods. So yeah, while calling there will be some confusion, no, to call which method, like whether to call parent class method or child class method. Yeah, but it will call the child class implementation itself. If I say example, now if I say example e2 equal to new example 2 of, now what method will e2 dot display of 2 will call? It will call child class display method or parent class display method. Any one of you, would you like to try this one now? No, actually e2 is static type is example. Now if I say e2 dot display of
Parent
2,
class.
You call the child class.
Parent class.
yeah, it will call the child class display method because of dynamic dispatch. So it will see e2 dot display is calling one arg display of, I will remove this line is confusing, of example 2. So yeah, one arg display of example 2. Actually what compiler initially checks is e2 is of type example, no, it will check whether display method with single argument as int is defined in example or not. Yes, it is defined in example, right? So it won't give compiler error. Then while calling it will check the object. Here the object is example 2, so it will call the display method of example 2, that is child class display it will call. Okay, this is called dynamic dispatch. While calling it will check actually which object it is, whether it is parent class object or child class object. It is child class object, no, it is example to object, so it will call the display method of that object. But if e2 is not having, okay, okay, but okay, I will say other method here. I will define new method in the child class show. Defining new method in the child class show, the same definition, one argument show. This is show method is present in child class. If I say e2 dot show of 3, which method it will call, what it will give?
It'll give error because
Yes, yeah, it will give error. It will statically check what is type of e2. Type of e2 is example. Example is parent class. Parent class does not have this method show. Parent class does not have the method show, so it will compiler will give error saying that example class does not have this show method, so cannot find symbol show. But if show method is present in both parent class and child class, the same show method is present in both example and this child class, then the definition of example. Now e2 dot show will work. e2 dot show won't give any compiler error, and which method it will call? It will call the child class implementation of the show method, because the object here is example 2, the child class object we are storing. So dynamically it will check the object and it will call that particular method, the child class method it is calling here, not the example class show. Example class show is actually one arg show of example. Okay, this is dynamic dispatch, it happens dynamically. It will check whether the show method is defined for example or not. If it is not defined, it will give compiler error. If it is defined in both child class and parent class, it will check the object. Which object here? It is example 2, so it will call the show method of that example class. Okay, is it clear?
If it is not present in child class, only in parent class, it will call the parent class only.
uh,
The short.
yeah, okay, if the show method is not present in the child class you are telling, then it will call The parent class method only, because example 2, what is the show method of the example 2? It has only this one, no? Only from the parent class it has, no? It will have all the methods, all the public methods of the parent class. So all the methods of the parent class will be show also, will be one of them. So that show method only it will call if it is not defined in the child class. Parent class show will be called. Okay, is it clear for everyone? Please take some time and understand what is overloading and overriding and which method. Dynamic dispatch also. Overloading means you can have multiple methods with the same name in a class, within a class. And here the number of arguments, type of arguments, and the order of the arguments can be different. In yeah, you across the classes also there can be overloading. Like someone told, no, public void display. Uh, Instead of string and double, you can say int x int y. That also possible. Based on the arguments, it will call the particular method while calling, but the object should be okay. E1 dot display of 2 comma 2, will it work or not? E1 dot display of 2 comma 2, it won't work, right? Because we don't have in our parent class, we don't have two ints as arguments, right? It won't work. So E1 is actually example, that is parent class. It doesn't have this method inside it, so it won't work. But for if you run it, you will get compile error. See, you will get compiler error here. But if you say e2 dot display of 2 comma 2, it will work. Because, oh sorry, it also won't work because it is example. It should be example 2 here, the static type. Yeah, you can make this also to work by typecasting it back to example 2, and then you can make that work. Yeah.
Uh, uh, so, ma'am, what is the difference between dynamic dispatch and polymorphism? It's the same thing.
So polymorphism means like you can have multiple methods with the same names, right? That is polymorphism. Same form, the single method is taking different forms.
Right.
That is polymorphism. But dynamic dispatch is not that. It is dynamically deciding to call which method. Like if the method is present in both the parent class and child class, depending on the object, it will call the method. That is dynamic dispatch. Like based on the object it is stored inside that reference variable, the particular method will be invoked. No, it is dynamically deciding. At runtime it will check which object and it will
So,
call that particular method. Yeah.
so polymorphism in a way is using dynamic dispatch.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is called dynamic dispatch because it is dynamically decides, no, dynamically decides which object, and then calls that particular, it dispatches that particular method. So it is called dynamic dispatch, but it is not related to polymorphism, I can say. It's not related to polymorphism, no.
Method overloading. Overriding.
Sorry.
Ma'am, how this dispatch is different from method overriding?
Uh, so method overriding is different. Method overriding means we can give new definition to the methods which are present in the child class. If the method is present in the parent class, if you wanted to give new definition to your that particular method inside the child class, you can give. that is called method overriding. So that method will have same signature in both parent class and child class. But dynamic dispatch is completely different. If it is so based on the object, it will decide the it will JVM will decide to call which method. Okay, I have shown you here. E2 E2 is static type of E2 is it's employee, but dynamically it is example 2, no, it's child class, right? So it is static type, it is of type parent, but its dynamic type is child class type. So dynamically it decides. First, the compiler will check whether we can call the show method or display method on this E2. Yeah, if the methods are if the methods are present in both the classes, like in the example class, in the parent class, then we can call. If the methods are not present in example class display and show, then it will give compiler error. If but the display method is present in both the parent and child class, is present both in parent class and child class. So while calling, while invoking, it will invoke the child class method because the object is of type child class here. It is example to object, no, so it will invoke that particular class method. That is, it decides dynamically to call which method, whether parent class method or child class method. That is dynamic dispatch. Dynamic dispatch is what output we are getting when we are calling that particular method. Overriding and overloading is like different concept, no, we are giving the new definitions, that is different. Okay, yeah, if you have any specific doubt you can ask. Yeah,
Static method.
sorry.
Can we override static method?
So you can override, but it is not called overriding, it is called method hiding. You can override, yeah, even if the method is static here, you can override it, but that is not called overriding, it is called hiding. But you can define new method. Okay, but you can define new method inside. Yeah, you can check that by yourself just by taking an example. So actually if it is static, does not require object, no, you can just use a class name, example 2 or anything, and call. See, you can see different definitions, right? So actually, static void display index, here the definition is it will display that integer number, and one arg display it will show. In the child class, what we are defining, one arg display of example 2 we are mentioning. So even though we are defining new definitions for the display method in both example 2 and example, and it is static method, we are we are giving new definition for this method, but it is not called as overriding. It is not called as overriding, it is called as hiding, method hiding. We are, because the static methods are class specific. No, they are class specific. All the classes can all the objects of that particular class can use this method display, static method display, without creating the object. Actually, we can give new definitions to our static methods as well, but it is not called as overriding, it is called as method hiding. But it's no problem in giving the new definitions to static methods in our child class as well.
How we can do through the object? We can call through the object also, right? The static method.
Static methods are usually called by using the class names only. Yeah, object is not required to call the static methods. So if you wanted to call the static method, if you say like if you use objects for this static methods, see, you can see it is still working. But even without creating the objects also, without defining what is e1 and e2, you can just call these methods by just using the class names. Previously we have seen, no, I have called using example2 and example. So there is, it is not required to create objects when you call these static methods. You can call them by using the class name directly. Yeah, that is the purpose of making, one of the purpose of making the methods as static.
Ma'am, if the type is example and the object is example too, when which display of method will call?
Yeah, first it will check, the compiler will check whether
Uh,
display
in-
method is defined in example or not. Okay.
for the static method.
For static method, okay, you are telling, see, that also dynamic dispatch only will happen. It will check the object and it will give the output. So you are saying this one, no? Example e2 equal to new example of, then if I say e2 dot display of 2, then which method will call, it will call.
It will call the parent class, right?
Yeah, it is calling the parent class display method. Yeah, but see, basically for, see, it is not good habit also to create an object and to use this to create objects of this static. While calling the static method, it is always better to directly use the class name, because the purpose of static is like we can uh, one of the purpose of this static method is like we can call the methods, those methods, just by using the class name without creating the object. So actually whatever the concepts which we say, this overriding and everything, that is different for static methods. There is nothing called overriding for the static methods, it is called method hiding also. Yeah, actually that is not discussed in our lectures also. But in order to call the static methods, it is always better to use class name instead of creating the object and calling that. Okay. You can do this, you can create object and you can do this, but it is not a good practice. Okay. Y- yeah, any other doubts regarding this overriding, overloading, inheritance, polymorphism? Yeah, dynamic dispatch. You can just refer the slides or test book, or refer the slides and also go through the lectures. I think then it will be more clear for every one of you. And there is one more topic also, access modifiers, that is final and static only final, that we will discuss in the next session, like Tuesday session, and then we will do some coding examples from week 3. Okay, till now is it clear for everyone whatever the concepts we have discussed?
Ma'am, what time is the Tuesday session?
It's from 6 to 8. So first half an hour or something we can do recap, and then some I will discuss about the access specifiers also, and then we will go to the coding, like 1 hour or 1.5 hour we can do coding. Like I will give some problems, you can code by yourself. Yeah, 6 to 8, 6
Good.
p.m to 8
Thank you.
p.m. Yeah.
Ma'am, I have one request. If some coding we can do along with you, because the last
Mm.
coding session, what was taught and what the problems were given
Mm.
was very, very, I mean, the level of difficulty was very high in the live coding.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, actually in the previous session, whether what this was it not mentioned, like if the objects are present in the copy constructor, how we have to do in order to copy it deeply. Yeah, is it discussed or not?
no, like the constructor had, things like objects in them,
Yeah,
strings.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was not taught. So the level was very much different in the live coding, and then what is given in the assignments, or what you're teaching here. So, I mean, if you could run through one of you two codes, then we'll get,
I think
we'll
that
get
is
some
not.
confidence.
Yeah, sure, I understand, but it has to be discussed. I will check with the other instructor also. Like actually the it is not discussed, right? You are telling like if the objects are present in the constructor, how to do copying such that it won't affect the two
Yes.
objects.
Sir,
Yeah, that is.
discuss that one.
Is that discussed or not discussed?
Yes, discussed.
Okay, it is discussed. It's being told it is discussed, no? And you can watch that in the recorded things also. We are providing the tagged live sessions, no? We are providing the tagged live sessions. There also it is discussed with an example for this.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just watch that. It is tagged as well. You can watch that, and you can just try to attempt the coding question as well, whatever that is there in assignment, programming assignment, and live coding question also you will be able to do if you watch that. Yeah, if you have missed that part, you can watch that in the recorded.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, please go through the lectures and also go through the slides. Then you will understand it more regarding the inheritance polymorphism. These are important concepts, and these are very much essential to know, because you will be seeing it throughout the course. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thanks. I will.
Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thanks all.